How's it going, Spurs Mafia? San Antonio found a way to win 124-122 over the Washington Wizards. Um, it was not a particularly pretty game. Their offense was humming on all cylinders, but their defense struggled at times. Let's look at the tape and see why both of those things happened. The Spurs are taking it slow with DeJounte Murray in terms of minutes, but he's not taking it slow at all. They are finishing a tough layup through contact. We can call him DeJounte Blurry because anytime he has the ball in his hands, he is moving so quickly. Here off a steal, pushes in transition, lays it up off the glass, that's a goaltend. Here off a DeRozan steal, gets out in front, BAM! That's a point guard, ladies and gentlemen. That is our point guard for the next 4 years, getting all the way up there. I think he's pretty well recovered from that ACL tear. Obviously, DeJounte's vertical is impressive, but his touch and his footwork around the basket are phenomenal for a guard his size. This is a ridiculous move. It's a Euro step into a reverse layup. Doesn't go off the glass, just straight into the bucket. Probably his strongest skill coming into the league was finishing these tough layups through contact, and it's his bread and butter in the NBA. High fives for all of his fans. One thing he has been working on is his outside shot. He went 0 of 3 from deep in this game, but that's okay. You want him taking these shots. Those are open, his form looks good, he's confident. He's going to hit a pretty good chunk of those, and just him shooting that will stretch the defense out a little bit. Still, he's going to be at his best when he's moving toward the basket. Here on a back cut, nice pass from Jakob Poeltl. Here DeJounte finds Rudy for an open three, then follows the miss. LaMarcus Aldridge had another dominant game, and once again he started by moving off the ball, getting buckets that way. There on that cut, nice pass from DeJounte Murray. Here, he runs in transition, establishes position down in the post, gets a box out, rebounds this Bryn Forbes miss, puts it back up, through the contact, and one. Here's another nice play in transition. This is a wonky rebound, pops out to Aldridge, effort play, beats a guy there. He flips it up ahead to Marco, to Rudy, back to LaMarcus. Easy points. He also did that thing where he goes crazy in the post. There really aren't too many people in this league who can guard LaMarcus Aldridge when he's posting up, when he's got that jab step, that fade away, that move to the basket. He is incredibly difficult to guard down there. I know it seems like a bit of an outdated concept NBA-wise, but he's going to get a ton of buckets that way. He's also going to get buckets shooting from deep. He hit 2 of 3 threes in this game, and they were on back-to-back possessions. First trailing the play, here out of a pick and pop, and those shots are going to be really important for the Spurs. Speaking of threes, Bryn Forbes is pretty good at those. That's his spot above the break. You'll see defenders realize they messed up by leaving him open, and he can take advantage with that pump fake and shot right after. This is incredibly deep from the AT&T logo. Yikes. He's got that. If Forbes runs pick and roll, it'll be to get a jump shot, either mid-range or 3-point. He's pretty adept at hitting those pull-up jumpers off the dribble. He's also pretty good coming off screens, but he honestly didn't have the best shooting night in this game. Only 6 of 14 from the floor. He had a little trouble when he drove. Here, has to chuck up a shot at the end of the shot clock. But overall, his shot selection is very good. This is wide open. He can and should take that shot every single time. This one is just as wide open and is everything but in. He's getting really good shots in the flow of the offense, and he's going to hit these at a very good clip. It's plain to see that he's confident in his shot, and so is Greg Popovich, and that's really cool. DeMar DeRozan is at his most efficient when he's getting to the rim, and he did that very effectively against the Wizards. In fact, 3 separate times he got all the way to the rim and then attempted to murder it. I can't even really blame the guy who is standing under the basket for jumping out of the way, literally jumping out of the poster. Here we have Patty pushing the pace, trying to get a 2-for-1. That's about as good a 2-for-1 as you could get. Left-handed, cocked it all the way back. That's just vicious. I didn't know he had that with the left. Ambidextrous. This play, he goes baseline off the catch, reverse jam. The degree of difficulty on some of these dunks is pretty high for DeRozan, but he was playing very aggressively. He also made some jump shots, especially off of screens on catch and shoot looks. He missed a bunch of them in pick and roll pull-up opportunities early in the game, but he got going on those off-screen catch and shoot looks. Trey Lyles' second start didn't go quite so well as his first. He shot just 1 of 5 from the field. That was his only make. And he got 5 offensive rebounds in this game, but didn't do a great job of converting on them. Lyles was the guy who led the Spurs in their first game in rebounds with 11. And in this game, even when he got the rebounds, they didn't wind up resulting in extra points for his team most of the time. He didn't shoot the ball well in preseason, but he has to shoot this three. There's nobody within 8 feet of him. He pump fakes, drives, gets bumped, gets nothing. Rudy Gay had himself another alright game, posting 8 points, 9 rebounds in this one. He is a scorer. That's what he does best. He's gotten a lot of really good scoring opportunities this year, especially on wide open catch and shoot 3-point looks, but he hasn't been able to convert for whatever reason. These are great looks. You want him to shoot that every single time, but for whatever reason they haven't fallen these first couple of games. Still, he's been an effective part of the offense. Here he converts off a pass from Bellinelli and a screen from DeRozan. Here in transition, Bellinelli gets it going, dribbles down the court, takes it all the way to the rim, finds his buddy in there. Easy for Rudy Gay. This running shot was the only field goal Bellinelli hit in the game. He only had 2 points. He was pretty good at pushing the ball in transition and finding opportunities for his teammates. Here he makes a nice outlet pass to Patty Mills to beat the first quarter buzzer. Patty hit 2 threes in this game. Here's the other one. Pretty much the same spot. Patty and Bellinelli are both in there to hit 3-point shots, and Bellinelli missed a couple of nice looks that he usually will knock down. Much like Bryn and Rudy's misses, these are good shots. These are shots that you want him to take, and you just hope he knocks a few more down next time. In a bit of a surprise, Derek White looked really good from 3-point range. That catch and shoot 3 from the corner is pretty much the only one he needs to hit. Anytime he's shooting that shot effectively, that's going to do a lot for the Spurs offense. He's not going to shoot a high volume of those. Mainly, he's going to be driving toward the basket, cutting toward the basket, and making plays for himself and for others. That was a nice pass by Jakob Poeltl on the short roll. Here, he takes it all the way to the basket himself, gets it in, and one. It looked like a rough night on the stat sheet for Poeltl, 2 of 7 from the floor, but more than half of those misses were on the same play. He didn't look super great at the rim, clearly, only hit 2 shots, but the Spurs don't need much scoring out of him. As long as he does his job, they'll be fine. The Spurs offense is working out the kinks, but they look pretty crisp. The biggest issue right now is defense. The idea behind their pick and roll coverage is good. Usually they'll have the guard go over and the big man drop, so essentially they're allowing the mid-range jumper, which, as we all know, is one of the least effective, least efficient shots in the NBA. They're going to let teams get these kind of dinky mid-range looks, and they'll hit a couple, but the defense will do its job if they get a semi-contested mid-range look like that as the end result. They can't allow teams to get 3-pointers out of this, but for the most part, they did a pretty good job. They did an especially good job of protecting the rim with this concept. Here, DeJounte Murray gets beat. Jakob Poeltl is there, the big Austrian eraser at the rim. He made a couple of really nice blocks. Here, Forbes gets beat baseline. Poeltl is there. Beal loses Forbes with an off-ball screen. Poeltl picks him up, jams him off the backboard. Gorgeous stuff. He is a really excellent rim protector. He was really good the whole game, except for this play. I still am trying to figure out what he was thinking there. Quick shout out to LaMarcus Aldridge, who has grown leaps and bounds as a defender since he's been in San Antonio. Here, a nice block on a drive. DeJounte Murray is a disruptive force on the Spurs defense. Long arms, quick hands, great instincts, and anytime he makes a play, he starts a break. His length makes him a really special player on that end of the floor. Although he does seem to want to use that length a little bit much. There he gambles for a steal, gives up an open three-point look. He's not immune to getting blown by, and it's going to happen because he guards the ball so much. In general, though, in this game, he did a pretty good job of limiting whoever he was defending. He usually does an excellent job of staying in front and bothering whoever has the ball. This play he stunts, spins behind a screen, and then contests at the rim, forcing a very bad miss. Bryn Forbes is not equipped with the same physical tools, and it shows on the defensive end. There he got spun around like a top, gave up an open three. Here he gets run through a bunch of screens, loses his man completely, gives up another open three. Bradley Beal is a tough matchup for most guards in the league, so it's not exactly a surprise that Bryn Forbes struggled a little bit. He did have a couple of nice plays, showed some ability to stay in front and make those shots a little more difficult. He's quick, he's smart, and he's pretty good at getting to the right spot at the right time. It's not always going to work, but sometimes it's enough. Like I said before, Beal is a tough matchup for most guards, even a defensively inclined one like Derek White. Beal has some sweet moves, and he makes those tough shots that the Spurs defense tries to force. He did a pretty good job of staying in front for most of this game, but here got crossed over and made to look a little silly. Most of the time when White goes over on a pick and roll, he still has a chance to get back into play and contest any three-point shot that might be coming. This allows his big man to play a little bit further back. White and the Spurs are definitely going to give up some mid-range looks when they do this, but these are the shots that they can live with. As long as White and the rest of the Spurs guards stay in front and don't allow the ball handlers to get layups, it's efficient defense. Trey Lyles had a really disappointing game on the defensive end in this one. Especially after the first game, he looked so good rebounding the ball. He gave up a lot on the glass this time. Also, in terms of staying in front, he didn't do a particularly good job. Rookie Rui Hachimura took him to school a few times. This was a particularly bad play for Lyles. Gets shook out of his shoes on a pass fake, gives up a dunk to the kid from Japan. In fairness, he wasn't the only one who Hachimura roasted. Rudy Gay hasn't looked fantastic on the defensive end through 2 games, and he had a couple of plays against the youngster that didn't go so well for him. As always, Patty Mills' defense was a bit suspect. On this play, he gives some unnecessary help in the middle. That results in a wide open 3 for Isaiah Thomas, and thankfully for Mills, he missed. On this one, it's the same thing, unnecessary help, and then he winds up getting cooked from mid-range. Here, IT burns him, crossover back into a screen, gives up a 3-point look. That one goes. And on this one, it's pretty much the same play. But thankfully for Patty, Jakob recovers, contests a 3-point look, and actually blocks it. Pretty much any time Patty Mills is chasing somebody around a screen, it's not going to go so well for the Spurs. Another guy who that statement is true for is Marco Bellinelli. He got crushed by an Isaiah Thomas screen, ran through 3 screens on this play, gives up an easy look. Here he is talking to Davis Bertans before the game. Maybe he was saying he wouldn't guard him because they were such good friends, because the Latvian Laser did not miss in this game. He got open for layups. He got open 5 times for 3-point shots in this game. This is egregiously bad defense by Marco. He's leaving his man wide open at the arc, knowing he's a great shooter, for no tactical reason. There was absolutely no help on that help defense. Tried so hard to stop him from getting threes that they gave him wide open layups at the rim. Pablo's so upset with Marco's defense that he actually played Lonnie Walker for a couple minutes, 5 to be exact. The Knicks absolutely killed the Spurs in transition in the first game of the season, and that's mostly because the Spurs turned it over 21 times in that game. They didn't turn it over nearly as many times in this game, 9, but they still had some lapses in their transition defense. Here, this is an incredibly long possession, gets a wide open 3 that misses, but there's just no effort on the boards there, and it winds up being 2 points for Washington. There were a couple of defensive transition possessions in this game where the Spurs looked like they gave up halfway through it. The Wizards got a couple of wide open looks, easy, easy points that I'm sure Greg Popovich is not going to be happy about when he goes over the film with his guys. Might want to check the guy under the basket. Just a tip. Here, Bradley Beal attacking Patty Mills in transition. Not exactly a fair fight. Let's go to the fourth quarter of a pretty close game. Spurs actually trailing in this one, but DeJounte Murray takes it off a crossover to the basket. It was the Davis Bertans revenge game, though. He was pretty unstoppable. Just like he did in the first game, DeMar DeRozan started to take over late in this one, here hitting a couple of mid-range jumpers to get it going. 1 point game, Rudy jumps a passing lane, gets it going to Bryn Forbes in transition. Bryn pulls up three, water. He is confident. How is he on the other end of the floor, though? Here, tough drive, good defense, but the shot falls. On the other end, DeRozan, pick and roll, jumper good. Spurs up by one, can't let Davis Bertans get open. He's free for just a second, but he has all the space he needs to hit that shot. Other end, Rudy Gay with an answer to tie it up. This is one of my favorite plays in the Spurs playbook. It looks like just a normal double drag screen, but Bryn Forbes sets another screen for Aldridge on that far right side. Frees Aldridge up for a lob, easy bucket. Last 2 minutes, White on Beal, goes under the screen this time, chases him all the way to the basket, blocks that shot himself. Other end, tie game, DeMar, pick and roll, gets to his spot at the free throw line, pump, in, good. Beal with a chance for the lead. White goes over the screen, gets back in time to contest the shot, way off. Wizards get it back though, and it's Bryn Forbes on Ish Smith who always tears the Spurs up. He goes under the screen. He meets him at the rim. That shot's no good. Tied at 122. 13 seconds left. DeMar dribbles. He gets a screen. He takes it all the way to the rim between two guys, up and under. He'd been shooting middies all fourth quarter, but when the game was on the line, he went with the acrobatic layup to finish it. Sizing him up, taking it all the way to the rack. Beautiful move. As great as it was, Wizards still had a chance to tie or take the lead. Pop chose this moment to play Derek White and DeJounte Murray together for the first time all season, and boy did it pay off. They get a switch onto Patty Mills, guarding the ball on the last play. White and Murray together on the block for the win. Beautiful execution on the last defensive play of the game. I really don't know why Patty was in there on the last defensive possession of the game, but wound up working out for the Spurs, and you can't argue with DeJounte Murray and Derek White being an incredibly scary force in that defensive backcourt. Much like their first game, it wasn't super pretty, but the Spurs found a way to win, and they're 2-0 on the year, heading into tonight's game with Portland, who played last night. So we'll see how that one goes. We'll break that one down tomorrow. As always, go Spurs go.